Hi lovely rubies, welcome back to another episode of the Believe podcast. I'm so pleased you're here with me. So today's episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of music skills, because I know a lot of the episodes have been kind of around mindset, and kind of my plan really with the podcast is obviously to talk about mindset, but also I wanted to be able to chat a little bit about kind of the skills that musicians and creative entrepreneurs will need, and just my experience with things that may help you. So today I wanted to chat a little bit about booking gigs. So particularly helpful if you're a musician, but I imagine it'd be a similar process if you're wanting to book like a speaking gig, or like a comedy gig, or I imagine it's quite a similar process. So hopefully there'll be some things here that you'll find helpful. So it is a very big topic, to be honest. I didn't quite realize how big it was, but it's something I think I'd quite like to do maybe like a course about in future, so I can really deep dive into all the things around it. So I wanted to keep it quite small, because otherwise this podcast is going to get very long. Sorry if you can hear my dog Indy barking. She's taken to sticking her head out the cat flap and barking out in the garden, passing cats, or she's very protective about her garden and her house. Anyway, back on topic. I just wanted to kind of talk about some of the things in the lead up to getting a gig, and then maybe another time I can talk a little bit about the gig itself and after, and just other things, but I wanted to kind of keep it relatively concise, because I do like a ramble. If you follow me, as you'll know. So basically I've just split it up kind of into headings, and these are kind of the steps that I'd go through. Okay, so to the surprise of no one, if you already follow me, I'm going to start with mindset. As you may or may not know, mindset is one of my 4 pillars of strength. It's the foundation of feeling like I can do the things that I want to do. I'm deserving of the things that I want to achieve, all the things like that. So obviously kind of feeling in a positive mindset and feeling inspired and like you can do things. So obviously I don't know you and your goals with gigs. I don't know if this is something you're interested in as a hobby or as a professional thing, but I think either way it is important to be professional, and actually to take it seriously, because that's going to come across, because that professionalism is going to come across, and that is going to build people's trust in you. So I'm talking about like being reliable, turning up when you say you're going to turn up, obviously, not cancelling, and if you have to cancel because something's come up, giving plenty of notice. And yeah, I think professionalism is a big one. Taking it seriously, knowing your worth as well. That's something that's taken me quite a few years and kind of experience, but knowing your worth, and yeah, just building your experience, taking opportunities, seeking out opportunities. So that's kind of about mindset. And then kind of next I wanted to talk a little bit about the experience itself and making connections. So this is a really big one. It's you're gonna need other people. You can do it all by yourself. And I think for me personally, like a really big one has been going to open mics over the years, because initially kind of outside of my dad, who's a musician, I didn't really know many other musicians. So I started going to open mics, meeting other musicians, feeling comfortable enough to kind of jam with them and play some songs with them. And yeah, just making friends, making connections, supporting and following each other's pages, joining local music groups, like on Facebook, or there's so many out there, like online, and kind of like being present. And I think, yeah, it's just important to focus on building up that experience, because it's because of my experience of gigging over the years. I feel because of my experience of playing over the years, I felt confident to do gigs, and the more gigs I do, the more confident I feel, because it's something I've been doing a long time. So I think really embracing the journey, and I think initially there are going to be a lot of things that are either free or low paid, and from my opinion, don't stick your nose up at these. View it as part of the journey, and actually it's not like a something for nothing kind of thing, because it's giving you experience. It's kind of opportunities where you're able to get videos of you playing that you can put on your page, and it is building up your confidence, so that when you are in an opportunity where you can ask for a paid gig, you're going to feel confident that actually, yes, I am going to, I can charge for this gig because I feel good about it. Because I think initially, I'm only talking from my own self, my own experience, but I think if you're not feeling very confident, and you don't have much experience, you feel like you can ask for money, or if you are getting paid, you kind of feel a bit like, oh, like I feel more pressure because I don't feel as confident. And I think you can feel like that even after like loads of years of experience. I still get that, like, kind of imposter syndrome, but I think just showing up, playing, getting involved in opportunities, be that free or paid, and just building up, getting your confidence up, kind of working out what songs work for you, what songs the audience likes. That's going to be really helpful. So I also have written on my list things about branding. To be honest with you, to begin with, I don't think this is as important. Like, you guys know I love branding. It's something I really like, and actually it's something that I do feel is one of my strengths. But when I first started playing, it wasn't something that I felt was very important. I mean, initially I just went by my name, like my legal name. I didn't kind of have a look, like, now I like kind of the vintage stuff, I like the red stuff. I didn't have any of that back then. I just showed up and played whatever songs I wanted to play, and that was absolutely fine. I feel like it can put a lot of people off, feeling like you have to have it all together and have it perfect, and that's really, really not the case, because you're gonna I see this all the time, but you're gonna grow through like starting and just small step after the other, building that momentum, and you work things out as you go along, what works, what doesn't work, and just building that experience, to be honest, is more important than kind of looking right or having it all together. As you go on, you're still working it out. I mean, now I've been gigging for years and I still am like working out new things and what works, what doesn't work. So just enjoy the journey and don't put too much pressure on yourself. My next point was a bit about social media. I do think this is something really helpful to kind of start at the beginning, if you can, even if there's not much to kind of put on there like initially. I think having like a separate page for your music is really, really helpful. So for me personally, I really like having a Facebook page and an Instagram page, and I'm really proud, actually. I just reached 1.1 thousand followers on my Facebook page, which has been many, many years in the making, but it's given me the confidence to feel like I have enough of an idea that I can kind of tell you a bit about it. So I think the important thing with social media is, well, a couple of things, is when you're reaching out to venues or opportunities or things like that about like a gig opportunity, is it's kind of like your portfolio of work. So you'll have videos up there, you'll have photos, examples of previous gigs you've done, or previous playing opportunities, and it will give the venue an idea of who you are as a performer, if you're going to be a right fit for their venue. And the more you do, the more you're going to be able to update your page. It's kind of like your music CV that you can point people and venues to. And it's really helpful. So my advice with that is to be consistent. You don't have to post every single day. If I can post once a week, that's absolutely fine. Post once a week. Go, I'm going to post this day at this time every week. And then your audience know, okay, this is when I can expect a post from them. And yeah, just show up, be professional, because obviously this is your music CV. This is what you're going to be showing to venues, and they want to know that you're professional, reliable, and that you're going to be great for the event that they're putting on. Make sure you have videos up there so people and venues can hear how you sound. It's good to have a bit of a variety of things, and just keep it up to date, basically. The other thing as well is you don't have to worry as much about this at the beginning, but I feel like it's really helpful if you can get some business cards. You can get them, they're very affordable at somewhere like Vistaprint. My first business card is very different actually from my business card now. And yeah, it just again added to that professionalism, and kind of getting your name out there. So if you are kind of, say you are at an open mic, you could go, oh, here's my business card. And this is something that's come with time, because originally I was very nervous about the idea of giving out my business card. It was something that terrified me, to be honest with you. Whereas nowadays I feel like I'm much more confident about being at an open mic and going, this is my social media, guys, please follow me at hannahrubymusic, and kind of mentioning that kind of at the beginning of my set and at the end of the set, and kind of going to give my business card out to people that are interested. But it's always useful to have business cards and just keep them on you all the time, because you never know, as you're going about your day, someone might bring something up that you can kind of go, oh, that could be quite good to give my business card to. They mention a new venue that they're going to lunch to, and that's really great. Oh, do they do music? Oh, well, yeah, actually they do, or I'm not sure. Oh, here's my business card. Would you mind passing it to the manager when you next go in? Oh yeah, sure. So there's so many things that can pop up, and it's just really helpful to have a business card. Okay, so I have no idea. Like, I feel like, sorry if I sound a bit awkward. I think it's because I'm kind of got used to talking a bit more about the mindset stuff. And even though like gigs and stuff is like an area of kind of expertise for me, like I kind of I'm not used to talking about it so much. So sorry if I sound a bit awkward. But hopefully there's some things here that are helpful and not just rambling nonsense. So my next point is just is to do your research. If kind of basically you want to know what venues and opportunities and events are going on in the area, what you'd be a good fit for, where are other musicians playing. If you have no idea, it's always a good idea to join some local Facebook music groups, and stuff comes up in there all the time, even if it's other musicians promoting their own gigs. If you're like a similar sort of style to them, maybe you're a singer-songwriter or like a acoustic act, and the person that's posted up is also very similar to you, and they're playing at XYZ venue, you could go, okay, well maybe I'd be a good fit for there as well. If there's someone that you feel like comfortable reaching out to, you can ask them, oh hey, I see you're playing at XYZ, that's really cool, have you got a contact for them? Or you can have a look at the website yourself and reach out by email or phone call. I mean, I personally prefer email, perhaps because I'm very awkward on the phone, but whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, it is always really helpful if you can if you can go in person and kind of so they can see your face and chat to you. But nowadays I found is that you can't always guarantee you can walk in and just book a gig, because often it's like through certain people the booking is, or you know, maybe they're too busy to kind of go over the calendar with you right at that point. But yeah, basically do your research, what's out there. I find it really helpful if you can have some sort of order with it. Maybe you've got a spreadsheet where you can write out like the venue and the kind of acts they have there. Lemon Rock is a really great tool for seeing kind of what gigs are going on and things like that. And you can write down a list of venues. So the next point I was going to say about is equipment and PA. So if you're a solo act, you're going to need a PA. You're going to need your instrument, you're going to need the leads that you need, you're going to need your microphone, your mic stand, music stand potentially. So you're going to want to do your research about that. So for me personally, I have a smaller setup for smaller gigs and for busking. So it is a portable amp that runs off batteries, but it can be plugged in as well. And then I have a bigger PA, which is more powerful for the bigger venues as well. So you're going to kind of want to do your research. I mean, initially, if you're anything like me, it's going to depend on your budget. Initially, I mean, to be fair still, but like it's, I didn't really have a very big budget. So it was what I could afford within my budget. And I started off with a very small setup with the busking PA. And to be honest, for most gigs, it was actually fine. There was only a few where it kind of wasn't quite powerful enough. And that's when I got the bigger one. But just start off where you can with it, basically. Watch YouTube reviews and work out the things that you're going to need. It could be initially you hire your equipment off a friend and just chat with other local musicians about the things that you need, what they recommend. And yeah, so just because, I mean, some venues do have their own PA system and have the gear. I found most don't. They will expect you to bring your own. So yeah, making sure that you've got the gear that you need. So once you're at a place where you're like, right, I feel good about like pricing, but I'm not quite sure what to charge. I think talking to other musicians and just kind of doing your research about kind of what other people are charging. I mean, for me personally, that was a good starting point. I mean, obviously you can charge whatever you're comfortable with, and I think that's the key thing, is charging what you're comfortable with. But initially, I know when I first started, I was like, well, what even is the pricing for musicians? Like, what's reasonable? So that's where I started. Okay, I'm gonna look at what my friends charge, and you know, some of them were really experienced, so I thought, okay, well, I don't have as much experience as them, so I'll charge a little bit less. Or perhaps I had some more experience than some other people that would charge a little bit more, or the same, or whatever. Basically, I don't really think there's any right or wrong with pricing. I think it's what you're comfortable with. And yeah, just makes you feel good, basically, because you don't want to charge too much than you're comfortable with, because then you feel pressure and you feel like a bit overwhelmed by it all. But then you don't want to charge too little, because then you feel a bit resentful. You think, oh, that's actually a lot of work that's gone into that, and I don't feel like it was enough. And it's one of those things, again, where it's kind of just trial and error. You might do a gig and, you know, perhaps there's like an opportunity to play like a local event or something, and they say, well, you know, we're not paying you much. It's, I don't know, £30 it's £30 for half an hour or something. And then you play that, and then you kind of go, oh, that feels quite low. Okay, well, that's like a good starting point. So, you know, okay, that's a bit low for me. Maybe I'll try X, Y, Z or whatever. And you kind of will get into the groove of kind of what feels right for you. And then obviously as well, like you can reassess them as often as you like. Just because you've charged one price doesn't mean then you're stuck with that. You can adjust it as you go. And then we're kind of going on to like the reaching out to the venues. So obviously there's lots of different ways you can do this. You can do this by email, you can do this by phone call, you can go in and see them. It's really good if you can find out the name of the person that you're contacting. So rather than just going, oh, hi, this venue, if you can actually find out the names, even if it isn't the person that books the music, say you can find the name of the owners, I think it's really good if you can actually address it, hi, this name and this name, because it shows that you know, it's a personal email. You've not just sent out a load of emails that seem really spammy. You've actually taken the time to research their venue. And if you can mention in the email something personal to their venue, like, oh, you know, I come to your venue and have Sunday lunch, whatever, and it's always a really lovely atmosphere, or I absolutely love your garden with this feature. There's something that you can say that's personal. I feel like that goes a really long way. Oh, sorry, laptop is dying. That being said, I think it is really helpful if you can have some sort of template, and then you can adjust it to personalize it, because then you are able to kind of get out emails a bit quicker, and you kind of are able to work out like a format that works for you. So I will show you mine, though to be fair, I am always I change it up sometimes, but to give you an idea. So I mean, normally I'll kind of say hi and I'll say their name, like I hope you're well, and then I'll say maybe something about their venue of like what I said before, I have Sunday lunch at your venue, absolutely amazing food, really lovely atmosphere, and then say like I'm a local musician. You might like to say, oh, I've played here before, some places they might recognise locally, and then I'll say, you know, I'm taking bookings, or I'd love to come play at your venue, and then you tell them about the kind of music you do. I'm a singer-songwriter, play guitar, these are the kinds of songs I do, and then also I've linked to my social media. My YouTube has examples of things that I do on, link the social media. Many thanks, look forward to hearing from you, and then your name. So something like that, whatever works for you. And then you're kind of looking up the follow-up, because unfortunately I find it's quite rare that you could send off one email and then you'll get an email back going, yeah, we'd love to book you. It does happen, but normally you need to follow up, which can be quite daunting, because it's like, oh, I don't want to bother them, I don't want to be too pushy, and it really it varies what you think works for you. I mean, me personally, I'll do an email and then maybe I'll follow up an email in like a week. Some people might do less, but again, I'm like, oh, I don't want to be too pushy, so I don't do it too much. I think, okay, I'll leave them a week, sometimes two. Then I'll normally follow up with another email. I think possibly at that point maybe a phone call might be quite good, or even going in and saying, oh, I've sent you an email, I'd love to come and play for you. You know, who's the person that does the music booking, so you can get like a name of the person that does the music bookings. I found normally when I've done that, they've kind of repointed me to email them again. So then I'll do that. Hi, I came and saw you today. I spoke to this person. I'd love to come and play music for you. And just do that and follow up again. But sometimes it can take a few follow-ups. And I think just keeping track of that in your spreadsheet or your tracking systems, you can kind of see when you've emailed people, when you've contacted them, when they've replied, things like that. So that's all I want to say today about booking gigs. There's obviously so much more to it. The gig itself, the after, the promotion, the set list, lots and lots. But like I said, I would quite like to do maybe a course about it at some point, just kind of going into a bit more depth about it. But hopefully you found this helpful. I maybe have been a bit rambling at points, so hopefully my editing will save me. But yeah, I hope this has been helpful. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and let me know if there's any other topics you'd like me to chat about in particular, and I'll see you soon. Bye, lovely rubies.